I was watching the news today and I heard about Todd West, the murderer who killed 7 people in 2 states over June and July. And what I found was interesting is that there was no big sensationalized story about Todd West and in the national media. He wasn't on the world news, he wasn't on the national news, and he did not make, big national press. And what I'm noticing is that, Dylan Roof murders 9 black people in a church, and there's all this outrage from black people talking about racism, gun control, and taking down a Confederate flag. But in the case of Todd West, a Negro who goes out and kills other Negroes, there is no outrage. There is no press. And most people would have never, I wouldn't even have heard the story unless I turned on my 12 o'clock news and heard about this man. This man goes out and murders 7 people, 7 black people, yet our civil rights leaders, they're not outraged. Or, people like Al Sharpton, Louis Farrakhan, your NAACP, um, your black civic organizations, your black fraternities, your black sororities. Not a single one of these people are coming out to march and protest over Todd West. Nobody is talking about, what needs to be done about Todd West. There's no, declaration of war on thug culture, on gangs, or, the thug lifestyle. Not a single word is said about this because, again, the shooter is black and the victims are black. And, no one has a single word to say about Todd West. No one is as outraged about Todd West in the same way they were outraged over Dylan Roof. Now, everybody was mad at Dylan Roof. Everybody was like, he's a racist. He's a bigot. He's carrying Confederate flags and guns. And they don't look at Todd West in the exact same way. Now, Todd West is what I see as a thug, but nobody's going out to march and protest against this guy. Nobody is climbing, going into gang territory and spray painting over gang signs in Pennsylvania and New Jersey over this guy. Nobody's going into gang areas and spray painting Black Lives Matter on things like they did in down south, South Carolina, over those Civil War monuments. No one is going out and protesting, the way they did with the whole Dylan Roof incident. And it shows, the Todd West mass murder pretty much showed me, the hypocrisy this Negro has regarding his own race and regarding his own image. A Negro can kill another Negro, and there is no Black Lives Matter. There is no protest. There is nothing. I mean, this Todd West killed almost as many people as Dylan Roof, but their lives don't matter because they were taken by a black man. But the people who were killed by Dylan Roof, their lives matter because they were taken by a white man. And this clearly shows you how backwards and dysfunctional your African American Negro is. Were the lives that taken by Todd West, aren't they just as valuable as the lives taken by Dylan Roof? Why is it that the lives taken by Todd West are marginalized and minimized in American media, and the ones taken by Dylan Roof are sensationalized? Why is it that the people Dylan Roof killed, warrant a visit from the president where he, puts on a minstrel show, but the lives taken by Todd West, they don't warrant a visit from the president. They don't warrant marches. They don't warrant protests. And I'll tell you why they don't. Because they don't fit the narrative that the Negro likes. They don't fit the narrative of victimization. They can't come in and say that they were victimized by white supremacy and racism. With the case of Dylan Roof, they can say, there's a racist, it's a white supremacist, and he victimized us. But they can't say that about Todd West. In the case of Todd West, the Negro has to really take a look at himself and see the truth about himself. In these black on black murders, he doesn't have a single word to say. I mean, the silence pretty much is a condemning statement regarding this Negro in the case of this Todd West. I mean, just complete silence. I haven't heard a single thing, even on all the YouTube, and I have subscriptions to many of the people who always make, videos about all of these race issues. Not a single video about this whole Todd West thing. All these videos, were about Dylan Roof about 2 weeks ago, but not a single video about Todd West. Not a single statement about Todd West. Many of these pro-blacks haven't even made a statement about Todd West. No one has talked about this guy, and this man has committed just as many murders as Dylan Roof, and probably for the same intent and same reason, but nobody talks about these murders. Just like no one is talking about the murder here in the Bronx, where where a black man was shot in the head while holding his own child, and then his dead body falls on the body of his own child. And what's really sad about it is these same Negroes, pretty much show their hypocrisy every day, regarding this whole Black Lives Matter thing. The black life only matters if it's taken by a white cop or a white person. That's when black people are outraged. But no one is outraged when a black person is participating in the same type of mass murder that Dylan Roof participates in. And this clearly shows you, the Negro's hypocrisy about his own political issues. I mean, his own platform. He says that a black life matters only when, again, like David Carroll says, when it's taken by a white cop or a white person. But here we have a black person committing a mass murder in 2 states, and not a single black person has outraged, not a single black person is angry, not a single black person is, making any stink or any fuss. There are no videos on this, no pro-blacks talking about anything. No one is saying anything. I see just complete and utter silence because I went down the subscriptions in the YouTube feeds. Nothing on this Todd West guy. Not a single word, not a single video. It's a black on black murder, mass murder. Man kills 7 people in 2 states over a 2-month period. I mean, 3 brutal murders. The man even kills his own cousin. And not a single word out of these Negroes talking about Black Lives Matter. No justice, no peace, no type of outrage whatsoever. And as I said before, it just clearly shows you the hypocrisy regarding this Negro. Clearly shows you how little he values his own life. Because if a black life mattered, these same Negroes who went out to protest Dylan Roof would go out and protest Todd West. They would be out there, marching and protesting, looking for justice in the same exact manner. I'm looking at this summer and I'm seeing, just like I predicted, this is the summer of the savage, and the savage is pretty much proving my point, with case after case. I look at the case in the Bronx where the father was shot in the head while holding his child, and then the child, has to witness her own father's brains being blown out, and then his body falling on top of her. Then I look at this Todd West incident, mass murder, and it's clearly showing me, the behaviors of this Negro and how he continues to escalate things, not knowing that, an end game is coming, and it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty at all. But this Negro, he just does not understand that he keeps escalating this violence, and people are just looking at him and saying that, look at the behaviors he's participating in. Look at the savage behaviors he's participating in. I mean, you kill a man in the street while holding his child in the park. You participate in a mass murder. And not a single word of outrage from any of these black people out here. All of these black pundits. All of these civil rights leaders. Not a single word. This man participates in a mass murder. And no one says a word about it. Nobody says anything. This man is literally the black Charles Starkweather, and I want you to go look him up, because this is the same type of behavior Charles Starkweather participated in. But your Negro is not outraged enough to say enough is enough regarding black on black crime. He doesn't want to say that Black Lives Matter about black on black crime. Your pro-blacks won't say, I declare war on thug culture, gangs, and the criminal element in the African-American Negro community. Won't say a word about any of this, regarding these type of incidents. Won't make any type of protest, won't make any type of statement. But the minute a white person like Dylan Roof goes on a shooting rampage, there are all the people, and it's a national outrage, it's a national event. We have people scaling up flagpoles to take down Confederate flags. We have people, marching and protesting, talking about take down a flag. We have a president who comes into a church and gives us one of the most farcical eulogies known to man. But this black man goes on a rampage and we just have crickets. I just look at this incident, and it just makes me shake my head. You just had all of this protesting and outrage because Dylan Roof goes into the AME church and murders 9 people. But Todd West murders 9 people, not 9 people, 7 people, 7 black people, and no outrage, no protests, no anger. And what makes it really sad is black person kills another black person, yet we're told that Black Lives Matter. And both of these events, both of these incidents, clearly show you, the cognitive distortion many of these Negroes have regarding themselves, and it also shows you the hypocrisy many of these Negroes have regarding their race and their identity. Again, as David Carroll has stated numerous times, black lives only matter when they're taken by a white cop or a white person. And if we compare Dylan Roof to Todd West, it clearly shows you, how Black Lives Matter in that it can pretty much confirms everything he said regarding Black Lives Mattering. If you look at, both events, here we have 9 lives taken by a white man. We got marching and protesting. 7 black lives taken by a black man. Not a word said. Pretty much confirms everything he said regarding black people and their hypocrisy regarding, the value of a black life. And the reason why these lives have value is because they fit that narrative where the Negro can be a victim. In the case of Todd West, this Negro cannot make himself into a victim. He has to be forced to take responsibility for his actions. And because people are going to call him to the carpet regarding this whole thing, he decides not to say a single word. And that's just the saddest thing about it all. And if you can't see the hypocrisy regarding Todd West and Dylan Roof, then I really believe you need to have your head examined. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.